Hey everyone, me again. So as some of you might know, I recently went on a trip to Italy. I had a wonderful time, thank you for asking, and I wanted to show you the makeup bits and pieces that I took with me on my trip. My makeup look, I'll be honest, was very minimal. It was very basic. I do have some footage of me applying these products as well. Obviously I couldn't bring my lighting equipment to Italy, I couldn't bring my proper tripod, so it was a bit of a dodgy kind of setup, but hopefully you'll get the gist, hopefully you'll get an idea of how the overall look turned out. So I always start out with my eyebrows nowadays when I'm doing my makeup. The brow pencils I took were the NYX Micro Brow Pencils. I took the shade Taupe and Auburn. I like to mix them both together just to create my perfect brow shade. I took two brow gels with me. I took a clear one from MUA and I also took a tinted one from Essence. I probably used the Essence one a lot more, but I didn't use very much of it. I tried to wipe off most of the product before I put it on my brows. All of those things combined just made a really nice but very minimal eyebrow. So after my eyebrows were done, I usually went straight to foundation, and I started out with the Maybelline Baby Skin Primer. I kind of want my makeup to last all day, but at the same time I have dry skin, so I don't want anything that's overly mattifying. This one will kind of smooth over the pores, blur the skin texture a little bit, but at the same time it will kind of prevent your skin from getting oily throughout the day. Sometimes with my primer I would mix in a little bit of this. This is the Gosh Lumi Drops in the shade Vanilla. I've used this quite a lot on my channel, so sometimes when my skin was a little bit drier I would mix a little bit of this with the Maybelline Baby Skin Primer. I think that's what I did on the day that I was filming this video actually. You can also use this as an actual highlighter, just dab a little bit on your cheekbones and it looks really nice. And then I would use this little thing. I was watching the tailor a little while ago and she made her own kind of cushion compact foundation thing, and I was watching this video and I thought it was a really interesting process, and when it came to traveling with my makeup I decided that I wanted to do the same thing. I can't tell you what's in this foundation because honestly it's a concoction of a few different things. There's a bit of the Primark Drop Foundation, there's a little bit of the CYO Life Proof in here, there's a little bit of the Rimmel Match Perfection in here because I wanted to make it a bit more pink at one point. There's also a crap ton of facial oil in this as well just to make it a bit more liquidy. Altogether it worked really well. It was quite sheer and it was a little bit darker than my natural skin tone. I really like this just to go over the redness, just to even out the discoloration under my eyes. And my skin gets really dry and blotchy when I'm traveling as well. So this was just a really nice starting point for me. And then I went over that in some areas using Dermacol. I started getting to know it a bit better this year and I'm so glad I did because now I really enjoy it. I just take the tiniest amount possible and I was putting this on a really skinny brush. I just put a bit under my eyes and a bit wherever I would normally put concealer, like on my nose, on my redness, over my spots. I get a lot of spots when I'm traveling. It's very full coverage, so I didn't need too much of it. It's a very dewy kind of finish, which is great because again my skin is so dry when I travel. I knew that I probably wouldn't want to do a massive amount of contouring while I was away because personally I just prefer to wear bronzer when I'm traveling, especially because it was a bit sunny over there. So I took some very small travel friendly contouring sticks with me. These are both from AOA. They're the Sculpt Effects crayons. You might remember that I tried the lightest one called Mood in a first impressions video, but since then I've also purchased the second lightest one called Fawn. But yeah, I usually used a mix of both or just Fawn on its own. This is a really quick and easy way to sculpt the face and it's one of the best shades for a cream contour that I've ever tried. A lot of the time they can be too dark and too orange on me and it's just not a good look. These together are pretty much spot on. I took two powders to set my face. I'll show you one that I didn't use actually. So this is the Gosh Mineral Powder. You'll probably think it's a bit overkill to have a mineral foundation in your travel makeup bag when you're also taking a cushion compact and a full coverage foundation as well, and I completely agree, but my skin is a bit of a temperamental bastard. I didn't really wear this. This was just sort of an emergency product I took in case of a heat wave or in case my skin got really sensitive or something like that. Fortunately I didn't have to use it. We were all okay in in that department. I did use this Revolution setting powder. This is one of their baking powders in the new translucent shade. I've really been enjoying this. Keep in mind, my face was looking very dewy at this point. I was using a lot of cream products, but when I put this on, I didn't lose too much of that dewiness for one thing. Like, it didn't look really unflattering or mattifying or cakey on my super dry temperamental skin, but also it kind of kept everything locked in place during the day, which I really liked. I found that I didn't really have to touch up my makeup at all during the day while I was on holiday, which is good because I don't really do that when I'm traveling. I'm a bit more high maintenance when I'm back at home, but when I'm traveling, I really can't be fucked. After I set my face, even though I did have a bit of cream contour on, I did want to sculpt the face a little bit more and just add quite a bit of colour to it. So I took this e.l.f. bronzer with me, a duo with a bronzer and a blush in there, and this is called the Fiji Matte. This is a really nice compact if you're pale, and if you struggle with bronzers that are too pigmented, you will really like this. You'll really get on with it. So I used quite a bit more bronzer than I normally do, just because, like I keep saying, the weather was quite good over there. So I didn't just go outside the perimeters of my face like I normally do with bronzer. I also took a dab of it down my nose as well, and I also put it just kind of on the center here, just where I would naturally catch the sun. I used quite a generous amount of it as eyeshadow, and I really liked how that looked. It really complements my blue eyes. Sometimes I would wear a bit of the blush as well, just on the apples of my cheeks. Sometimes I gave it a miss depending on how much skin redness I had, but I knew that it was there if I wanted that as an option. I used 2 mascaras while I was traveling because I'm extra as fuck. So the first one was the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. You'll have seen this on my channel time and time again. Been using this and repurchasing this for years. So I layered it with this mascara from Revlon. This is the Ultimate All-in-One Mascara. I just kind of grabbed this and I accidentally got the waterproof version, which was not intentional. I don't like waterproof mascaras. They're an absolute bastard to remove. But I thought it looked interesting because the brush is quite small, which appealed to me because I've got very short, sparse eyelashes. It's actually surprisingly clumpy, but I find that layering it on top of the Maybelline Lash Sensational works really well. So this one is really defined and separating, but then I got all the volume and all the length from the Revlon mascara, so together they worked really well. My lips were incredibly basic while I was traveling. I did take this Maybelline lipstick with me. This is in the shade 630 Velvet Beige. This is my absolute favourite lipstick. I'm wearing it right now actually. I never wore this when I was traveling. I just didn't, because I was eating pretty much constantly. You know, I was in Italy, the land of pizza. I was eating all the time, so I just wasn't really doing anything with my lips. Most of the time I just wore this clear lip balm because it has SPF in it. This one is by Lipsol, but yeah, just any clear lip balm with some SPF in it just to protect them, because I knew that I was just going to eat something as soon as my makeup was done, so I didn't really see the point. And then as a finishing touch, I actually got the eyebrow pencils that I used right at the beginning, and I used them to draw on more freckles. So I'm a natural redhead. I have quite a few freckles already. I just kind of followed the natural pattern of my freckles. So there are quite a few under my eyes, and they kind of go outwards over here, and they're on my nose, and then they come back out again. So I kind of drew them in that sort of same patch that they were already in, and I would kind of spread them out a bit more as well, and I put a few more on my forehead, and then to make them more natural at the end I would just get the sponge or the brush that I'd used for my foundation and just kind of dab over it, or just go over it with my fingers and just tap them in, and once you do that it looks really natural. I can kind of get away with drawing freckles on because I've got freckles naturally, so they kind of all fuse together. And then I used setting spray. So the makeup setting spray that I actually used was by Obsession, but I did use it up. I completely finished it while I was on holiday. I always find that setting sprays really help the makeup mesh with my skin a bit better, which is why I enjoy them, but it just helped the makeup last all day as well. So yeah, I did really enjoy it, but unfortunately I don't have it to show you because I used it up. that's it. That is everything I used while I was away. For some of you, I'm sure this seems like a lot of products, but for me, this is actually quite a minimal routine. That's everything from me today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you're new around here, please validate my existence by subscribing to my channel. I upload a new video every Sunday at 9 AM. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.